I'm here to tell you that great streamer patterns do not need to be complicated. This is going to be one of the best streamer patterns that you have in your box for big fish. Sometimes these videos act almost as a reminder that simple and sparse patterns can be just as effective, if not more effective, than their overcomplicated cousins. This is the Estaz Bugger. This is how you tie it. I prefer a big saltwater style hook for these Estaz Buggers. This is a Daiichi 2546. Pinch the barb on that saltwater style hook before pushing the point of the hook into the small end of a conehead bead. This conehead adds a little bit of flash and a little bit of weight to help get this thing down to the fish. After you secure your hook in the vise, get a base of GSP started on the hook shank. Bring it all the way to the back side of the hook. Here we're going to tie in Marabou. There's a few ways you can tie in a Marabou tail for this pattern. If you have a good Marabou feather with all the fibers leaning towards the tips, stroke them all together into a big clump of feathers and tie them in that way. My preference for this pattern is to have a little bit more of a whimsical tail with a lot more movement and a little bit more variance in the Marabou fiber length. To obtain that, I hold the Marabou feather by its tip, letting all the fibers hang down, stroking them down so that they are splaying out to the side, trying to even up the tips of each Marabou fiber. I'm going to grab the feathers around the base of the stem between the palm of my thumb and my index finger, pinch them there, and then just rip them off of the stem in one big clump. With my other hand, I'm going to gather all of the fibers together and bring them to my hook shank for measurement. I'm going to tie two clumps in like this, one on top, by capturing these fibers on the top side of the shank with a few wraps, and then invert your hook, grab another clump of Marabou from the other side of the feather, and tie this portion of fibers on the underside of the hook shank. Once you get both clumps tied in and secured, begin bringing your thread forward towards the bead, doing your best to preen the forward-facing Marabou butt ends as you wrap. Once you get to the front behind the bead, trim off your excess butt ends of Marabou and begin making securing wraps around the Marabou feathers to clean up the body. Then bring your thread back to the original Marabou tie-in point. If you've seen our other videos, you know that we incorporate a little bit of red into all of our streamer patterns. Even if it's a small amount, it makes a big difference. One of the pieces of red in this pattern is crystal mirror flash. We're going to tie this in on either side of the tail. Snip two pieces of crystal mirror flash from the hank and attach them to one side of the hook shank and begin making forward wraps to capture the mirror flash down onto the hook. After 3 or 4 wraps forward, move the forward-facing crystal mirror flash over to the other side of the hook shank and begin making wraps rearward to capture that mirror flash down on the opposite side of the hook shank. Once you finish securing your mirror flash, trim it to be about the same length as the tail, maybe just a little bit longer if you desire. Next, I'm going to grab some opal white petite Estaz. I'm going to strip some of the flashy fibers from one end of the braided inner core and bring that to the hook to be tied in. Attach that braided core to the hook shank with very tight securing wraps and bring your GSP forward to behind the eye. Start by making one full wrap of Estaz on the back side of the hook and give that Estaz a nice tight pull after that first turn, and you'll see it tighten up on the back side of that hook shank. Then you can begin making touching wraps with the Estaz, moving forward, preening the flashy fibers rearward with each additional wrap. Make sure these Estaz wraps are touching each other, and make sure the body is nice and filled out all the way across the hook shank. Some of these fibers are going to try to face forward on you. Do your best to pull them back before you make a wrap of Estaz in front of them. Make as many wraps of Estaz at the front side of the hook behind the bead as you think you can until you feel it tightening up in there. And then capture that Estaz off with your thread with a few wraps over the top and a few wraps in front. Then you can trim your excess Estaz. And I always like to add a couple of half hitches or a whip finish here. Grab a little bit of super glue and slide it along the GSP thread, about an inch of thread or so. Pull your Estaz back on the front side and make securing wraps just behind that bead to set everything in place. A few more half hitches and then you can trim your GSP. Last but not least, I like to add just a little bit more red to my streamer, and that's just with a Sharpie marker. I'm going to take my red Sharpie and color in the Estaz fibers just under the cone head bead and on the side, a little bit on the side of the hook shank, to emulate gills of a small bait fish. Does it matter? I don't know, but it gives me confidence when using it. Keep it simple, keep it sparse, keep it less complicated to keep catching big fish on your home waters. This Estaz Bugger will surprise you. Smallmouth bass, largemouth bass, walleye, northern pike, catfish love this fly, and tip of the day, this is an amazing trout pattern. It's a secret. Don't tell anyone. I hope it helps you out on your home waters. These are all the materials you need to tie a super simple streamer pattern, the Estaz Bugger. Head down to your local fly shop and make sure you ask for Larva Lace by name. If they don't have Larva Lace, make sure they get a hold of Lorie in Mitchell, South Dakota by going to hagensfish.com, and they can get the highest quality fly tying materials on the market. Larva Lace is a product of Hagen's Fish, family owned and operated company right here in the United States, distributes all over the world. Our goal is to give you materials that help you catch more fish. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, comment on this video with what you're catching with an Estaz Bugger, and share it with your networks to help other people find our monthly fly tying tutorials. Thanks for tying with Larva Lace. We appreciate you being a part of our community. Here's to tight lines and well-tied flies.